much fit to talk about Saving Montgomery Sole by Mariko Tamaki. This is a story about a girl named Montgomery Sole who is the daughter of two lesbian mothers. She has a best friend named Thomas who's gay, and she's kind of one of the outsiders at her school, you'd say. She's into weird things, mysteries, magic, that type of stuff. I listened to this on audiobook, and I gotta admit the audiobook narrator wasn't the best that I've heard. So that might be affecting some of what my feelings on the story. I don't know if it is. I don't think it is, actually. I feel like nothing is really happening throughout the story. I feel like the flow isn't there, and I feel like it's just very disjointed. But there was a lot of things I did like. Really interesting discussion of religion and sexuality and different ways that people practice religion in the latter half of the story. Essentially, there's a boy named Kenneth who comes to her school, and he's the son of like a very infamous reverend, you could say, who's all about the American family. And so you see Montgomery dealing with that, and you just see a lot of other reasons that she's just kind of angry. Here's the way I can really talk about it is that Montgomery is more affected by discrimination and bullying that her moms face and that her best friend face than they actually are. She'll be in a situation and she'll get more upset than her parents are, who are the ones who are actually facing the discrimination, or Thomas, who gets teased, I guess. Yes, you could say it's bullying. He might even say it's bullying. But his reaction is he kind of rolls with it, and she gets extremely angry. It's very different. Her reactions are. And I never understood why. I never understood why she reacted the way she did to things. I never understood sometimes anger is appropriate, and I felt like her anger wasn't appropriate at times in the story. Seriously. There's kind of this underlying thing. You know how in these stories there might be like some type of parallel to something they're learning in class, and they're learning about the outsiders, like a play is happening, the text is happening, and there's a point in the story where she's talking about in class like what makes someone a hero or a villain. And I felt like Montgomery literally like, girl, what are you doing most of this time? Like, I felt like you were on that line through a lot of this, and I just wasn't that big of a fan of the character, but what can you do? Because a lot of times she was being absolutely ridiculous with her friends and with other people. She would just take things too far, and I just couldn't get behind that. The big plotline that I really loved was the Eye of No. There's this Eye of No, which is like the thing she buys online for like $5, and she starts to believe that it is causing harm to the people that she hates because things start to happen. And honestly, if that was more of the plotline, I would have loved this so much more. If that was more consistent. The second time that Eye of No is like used, or she thinks it's used, with such an intense moment, and then there's like this huge block of time in between that happening and finding out what happened to the person. And I was just like, that block of time in between there, which I felt like was a big block of time, was just Montgomery being messy Montgomery, like Montgomery is for most of the story. And I just wasn't about it. And I was just like, I want to get back to the Eye of No. I want to know what's going on with the Eye of No right now. I loved her friend Thomas. I loved her parents. I loved Naoki. Naoki is such an interesting character, I thought, for not being a character that we get to see a lot of. She's a very little Lovegoody character, to be honest. And I think, and that was just about it. But she's a very kind person, and you can really see how good of a person she is. And the text, and I just love Naoki. And Thomas was also fantastic. Her best friend Thomas. I loved him, loved her parents, loved her sister, and I felt like her relationship with her sister was an interesting one to see. Her relationship with religion is just so conflicted throughout the story, and that plays into her relationship with her sister, and I really liked that. That was another thing that I did enjoy about the story. Like, I didn't hate this outright. When I got to the end of the story, when I was going towards the end of the story, I was still kind of middle of the ground on it. I was like, okay, this is not bad. That the ending didn't do enough for me to be like, wow, this was amazing. But I'm still going to be reading another story by this author. I was recommended this author, Skim by this author previously. as when I was looking at like queer graphic novel webcomic works. And I am excited to read that one because that's going to be very different. It's going to be in like a graphic format, first of all. That's going to be very different. The plot lining, everything will be very different. Also, other reviews I've seen of this since I've read this has been a lot of people saying this is not really her best work and that they've liked things by her before this more. And okay, so I'm just going to hoping for the best. I am going to be reading Skim by the same author, and I already have that on hold in the library. Whenever that comes in, I'll be reading that. So yeah, I thought it was okay. I gave it 3 stars. If you've read it, you should tell me what you thought of it in the comments down below. If you've read more from this author, you should tell me what you think of their writing, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye.